This is the Mous Active Commuter Backpack. But when I did that, you guys can cut to the AiroFoam, the little shot with the... Hey guys, I'm Abdul. I'm the designer of this bag. This is the Mous Active Commuter Backpack. And today I want to take you through some of the features and the design decisions we made and why we made them. So first, I want to talk a bit about why we made this bag. So we did a lot of user research at the start of designing this bag, and we interviewed a lot of people. And one of the key things we actually found was that a lot of people like to go to the gym on their way to or from their commute to work. And one of the key issues we found was that a lot of people actually can't take the same bag. They found that currently the work bags that they have just don't have enough space to actually fit in some of their gym stuff. And the people that did have dedicated gym bags found that those bags were too big or just looked too gym-like to take to an office. So we found there was actually a gap in the market for a bag that had enough space to fit all your work stuff and gym stuff, but equally didn't look too gym or active and could still fit into a work environment, which was one of the key drivers when we were making this bag. One of the first things we wanted to tackle was generally just the space issue, and one of the easier ways to do this was just a roll top. We looked at different ways of making the bag expandable to fit in a lot more stuff, but when we were kind of experimenting and making prototypes, a roll top actually just felt familiar to a lot of people. So that was one of the directions that we went for, and so far I actually think it worked quite well. So we wanted a bag that had expandable volume. So essentially on days where you just go to the office, it can pack down small. But on days when you want to go to the gym after work, you can fit in a lot more stuff. This expands from roughly about 25 liters to 35 liters. Initially, we were going to have this be sort of a more standard roll top where it just folds down the center and just comes with a sort of G-hook attachment or something that, it's very common. But we were kind of prototyping, talking to people in the office, and one key sort of piece of feedback we had from that was when the bag rolls like that, you end up with these two sort of obtrusive corners on the side, which is a small thing, but actually if you're like riding a bag to work and you're hunched over, those corners can actually like restrict your view of what's happening behind you. So that's why we opted not to go for something that just hooks like that with extended corners, but you can actually clip down to the sides, because that then softens those curves and then means when you're riding a bike or you're just walking about, you can actually have more access to your peripheral vision. So since we made this a roll top in order to add the extra expansion, one of the issues with roll tops is that they're essentially just big, long black holes, and it's very hard to access things. So we solved that by adding just a zip along the side, and this allows you to just get easy access into the contents of the bag, especially the items that are right at the very bottom, because this would be honestly very hard to reach if you had to go in from the side. So one of the sections in the bag is a tech section. This essentially runs alongside the bag here. It doesn't cover the whole width. You still have the gym section there, which is unpadded, so you can stuff this into a gym locker and it's going to squeeze down. But we've made sure that where you might want to put your tech is all padded, so your equipment is protected. And to get into that tech section here, we have a YKK coated zip. This is coated with PU, so that helps with water resistance if you're ever out in the rain. And as you can see, this bag has our blue label, which means it has our signature AiroFoam protection. So this means your laptops are protected from quite high drops. We do pretty crazy stuff with it. So just for daily life, if you just like drop your bag on the floor without thinking about it, your laptop is going to be fine. And this will fit in laptops of up to 16 inches, and it does have another pocket here for tablets, as well as a little loop here for Apple Pencils. And on the other side of the bag, we have some mesh pockets for you to put in items such as your dongles, a mouse, and then little loops here for a pencil and a pen as well. And at the very top, we have just another pocket here, which again is padded, so you can put slightly bulkier items in here if you want. So then coming on to the outside of the bag, you have two bottle pockets here, You can have one here to put your water bottle and a separate one here to put your protein shaker. If you don't have a protein shaker, use it for an umbrella or something else. It's just, we think it's generally useful to always have two. And then on the top here, we have a quick access bucket. So this is just really easy to just put items you might want easy access to. It is divided as well, so you can put smaller items behind the mesh pockets or larger items in the front pockets. I like to use this for stuff like my headphones I just kind of want really quick access to. And this pocket is padded with foam as well, so it just means these items are protected from general bumps. And in terms of their position on the bag, they're generally out of what we like to call the crush zone. So generally, if you put things here, you know, they might be susceptible to any sort of pressure or bumps from this side. But generally, when you're wearing the bag, items here will kind of be facing in that direction. So it's less likely to, you know, have things sort of bumping into it there. One of the key points for this bag was that despite it being a gym bag, despite it being a roll top, it has to look really sleek to fit into a work environment. So this whole front section is padded with foam, and that's what gives it this really sleek appearance. And then at the base of the backpack, we have a shoe compartment. So essentially you can just stuff your shoes in here or any damp items. So this pocket is lined with quite a specific fabric. It's 150 denier, and it is PU coated, and it has a durable water repellent on it. And what that means is that it's just very water resistant. So if you put any damp things in there, the water really isn't going to soak through to any items you might have in the main compartment. But it also means it's a lot easier to clean. So if you put muddy shoes in there, for example, you can just wipe it clean with a sponge. And then in addition to that, it also has an antibacterial coating as well. So, you know, ideally we'd clean it every day, but you don't always do that, let's face it. And there's also a little ventilation hole there as well, and that just allows some airflow. So if you do put like stinky shoes or any like sort of damp clothes you sweat in, they will get some airflow as well. So, you know, you're not just putting it into like a septic tank, for example. So I want to talk about the materials on the outside of this bag and why they help make it so weather resistant. So on the sides, we have a 420D recycled nylon. This nylon has a slight PU coating on the inside, and on the outside as well, it also has a durable water repellent treatment. So overall, it's quite weather resistant. And then on the front, this rubbery looking material is a 840D ballistic nylon. This also has a carbonated PU coating as well as a durable water repellent coating. What's quite special about carbonated PU coatings is that generally they just end up being a bit more durable. So while some of the fabrics on the side have an internal PU coating, that's generally okay. But when the PU coating is facing outwards, you generally want it to be a bit more durable, which is why for this front fabric, we've gone for a carbonated PU coating instead, which helps with some of that durability. What's great about ballistic nylon is that it's generally just a very durable material. It's resistant to, within reasonable use, most tears and scratches you're gonna encounter. And what that means is for this, you know, when you're just stuffing it into lockers and just going about your daily life, you can have some peace of mind that the materials on this bag are gonna be able to handle that use. And on top of that, it just feels really premium. It's one of those things that's quite hard to communicate through video, but if you actually feel it, it has quite a nice texture to it. And then moving on to the back panel here, I want to talk a bit about the harness system and the way we've constructed it to essentially make sure that it's comfortable and it gives you decent airflow. So one of the things you'll notice first is these little webbing loops at the top of the bag. So initially we followed a similar design as our previous backpacks, where the actual full backpack, including the strap, is just stitched directly in. And while this was comfortable, for this style of bag we realized that actually if this is something you're wearing when you're on a slightly longer commute, maybe riding a bike, you kind of want a bit more flexibility. So that's why we actually added these webbing loops here instead of stitching that directly into the bag. This means that these straps are able to move a lot more. So while you're wearing it, it's a lot more comfortable, but it also means it can conform to a lot of different shoulder sizes, and you know, everybody has a different body. So this allows the bag the flexibility to move and adapt to different users. In addition to that, we've also used a spacer mesh on the straps and the back panel. So what that does is it just allows you to have an extra bit of plush sensation, I guess, to make it a bit more comfortable, but it also allows for a bit more extra airflow as well. And then when you look at the actual back panel, you have these two panels, which are EVA foam, and then on top of that, we have the air mesh. So the EVA foam is just there for added comfort. So when it's on your back, it feels quite soft. And what's nice about EVA foam is that it's also quite resistant. So, you know, over time, you can be sure that that foam will actually hold up and it's not going to start flattening out over the years. And then down the center, we have this piece of webbing that can also be used as a luggage pass-through. So if you're traveling, you can just put this over your suitcase handle and just, you know, just roll along on your way. And then on the sides as well, we also have these webbing loops, which you can attach a hip strap onto. This is especially useful on days when you might be carrying something heavier and you want a bit more support to shift some of that weight to your hips. Or just if you're cycling and you just want to really like strap down the bag so it doesn't move, you can use these straps to attach a hip belt if you just want some extra stability. Then if you take a look at the shoulder straps, you notice this also has a sternum strap that runs alongside them. So these come with a magnetic fastener just for easy clipping and unclipping. There's also a loop here of webbing which runs alongside the strap, which just means that this sternum strap can be adjusted within this just to fit different bodies. This is our wet pouch. This is one of the optional add-ons you can buy with the Active Commuter backpack. The key thing about this is, again, the material. So this is the material we use on the shoe compartment of the backpack, but we actually liked it so much, we thought it made sense to actually do this as a separate standalone product. So this is a 150D fabric with a durable water repellent on the outside. On the inside, it is PU coated with an antibacterial treatment as well. But generally speaking, if you've just been to the gym, you have a damp towel or a sweaty t-shirt, you can just throw this in here, roll it up, and you can stuff that in your bag. And because it's so water resistant, you just know that that sweat or that damp towel isn't going to seep through to the rest of your belongings while it's inside this. Which is why we decided to offer this as a separate product in addition to what you get with the Active Commuter backpack. We think together these two products will form a system which hopefully should meet all of your gym and commuting needs. That's been a brief overview of our new Mous Active Commuter backpack. It's taken us a while to get to where we are, but I think from looking at some of the feedback we received from users initially at the start of this project, I actually think you managed to create a product which actually fits a lot of our users' needs. I think this is the kind of bag that you can actually take to the gym. It'll be able to fit all your stuff, but you can also take it to work without looking too out of place, which I think is quite rare. I think those are two somewhat different worlds, but with this bag, we've actually managed to bring those two together and create something that actually works quite well and still looks quite nice despite all of that. Thanks again for watching. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment, but also please like and subscribe. It really means a lot to us and the rest of the team. You can't see them, but I am in a room full of people and your likes and comments actually do mean a lot to them. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.